I'm Jessie. We're back again today with the Boxmasters. Thanks for having us. We have Teddy, we're out of order this time, sorry, different order. Teddy, Janie, and Bud. So this time, as promised, you guys wrote in with some questions, and we are so thrilled because we didn't expect to get questions so quickly, but we're hoping, and you delivered. So we have Clint Wensley in China, who actually teaches audio engineering. And he played part 1 to his class, and then they played Speck, and then they started playing other albums, and they collectively said to tell you guys their favorite songs were She Looks Like Betty Page, Whorehouse, and Blow Up. So they are watching, and they're eager to keep following, and they said they hope to get you over there sometime, because they like it.
What was the last song?
Blow Up, they wrote. That one didn't ring a bell to me, but
yeah,
I'm not all the way through the rabbit hole yet.
That was a 60s movie, 1966.
Was there anything with just 2 words in it, blow up or come up?
It could be that it was a message and maybe a typo.
Huh.
Well,
I will look it up.
We'll
get you, Clint.
Yeah,
we'll write a song.
Clint, we're going to write a song called Blow Up. Just for you.
dedicated to the
All
class.
it ever takes is just a little bit of an inspiration, so we've got one now.
Maybe that was on purpose, huh? And they were wondering, the class was wondering, when you do your lists, they meant for the albums, but I'm going to take it, sorry Clint, because you've answered that quite a few times now, about the order of the albums, how you select it. And it's a story within a story, guys. Watch part 1. It's like a book, they're chapters. Just listen, you'll catch on, I promise. I'm catching on. And so I'm going to say with the set list, something really cool about your tours is most bands come out when they're doing a tour for an album and you're really emphasizing primarily that album, and you guys mix it up.
Oh, absolutely.
So how does that happen?
Well, we do it according to what works. Like a set list should be rhythmic. It should, you should start off with a bang, and you come into a couple of, more mid-tempo songs. Up the tempo again, and you do a couple of ballads, and you end with, up-tempo songs. So we just always make a set list that sounds right. And on the new album, we're only doing 2 songs for the new record, but that's enough to advertise the record. We have 1 ballad and we have 1 up-tempo song on the record. Not all songs translate live, but we have songs that we love to play live. But for whatever reason, they just don't have the same sparkle they have on the record. We have other songs that we play live we have a couple that aren't even out yet that just sound so good live that we play them. So when you go into rehearsal, you see what works and what doesn't work live, because some things are meant to be studio songs.
Sure.
They just work in the studio and not necessarily live. We find that mid-tempo songs are the ones that don't work live the most often. Up-tempo and ballads work live. When you do a mid-tempo song, since it is in between, that's where people it kind of lulls them into a catatonic state.
Yeah, exactly. They take off, they go to the restroom, they get drinks.
That's right.
So it's like you want to keep people up there at the front with you. Absolutely. And so, you want to draw them in. You want to keep them there, keep them engaged for the whole set, and so that's how we found to do it. Is really start out with a bang, play some more stuff that is interesting to us. Songs that we like to play that they're never going to be radio songs or stuff that we like to play because they're things that we love, and it shows different sides of us. So we'll have things that are influenced by Devo or Frank Zappa, but they're still us. We have all these different influences, so we have different kinds of songs that kind of reflect different aspects of what we are as a band. So we start off with rock songs, play some more weird, punky things, play the slower stuff. It's just, we hope we're taking the audience on a ride that, really keeps them involved in the show and makes them really want to hear more after we're done. So that hopefully listen to the records and check out other stuff that we have.
It's about dynamics, in anything, and we try to have a show that's rhythmically a dynamic show, and And it's not to say that mid-tempo songs never work. We have a couple that do, and we're playing in the show. But, you know, there really is an internal clock in people and what they respond to. It's like, what is it, 120 beats a minute is people's BPM?
I did study that.
And so, not that all of our songs.
Ours are more, our hearts kind of run at 135 beats a minute. That's our kind of our wheelhouse, is kicking up the tempo a bit.
But it works, it works. I'm glad you said that though, because I wanted to add, now I've been to my first live show, and let me tell you, you have to come, because it is a different experience. You know, you go home and you can still dance at home, trust me. But you do hear things that you don't get to hear live. So you can't get everything if you don't come see a show live. So I wanted to throw that in there. And for the fans, please go to a show. You just have to. I'm back not just to talk to them, it's for the show, because it's great. But the thing I noticed was you said something, somebody said on your website, you have a meet and greet. I really encourage everybody to do that. If you don't get the opportunity, if you stick around, in many cases if they can, these guys will try to say hello to you if they can. They'll do their best. So you don't just have to write into us, go to a show. And you can tell them thank you, or ask your questions, or find out what blow up was, or help write it.
Yeah, also on that kind of thing, you know, we got another guy that kind of does our website and social media, but at the same time, you know, I'm on it. So if somebody really has a question, they can write in, and I'll try to get to find a time to answer it. But you know, sometimes it's you know, we're playing 16 nights in a row right now. This is night 14 in Lexington, Kentucky, and man, this is
you guys have a grind.
This is exhausting. You know,
that's the other thing. Dates. Let's talk about that. You guys are hitting it hard.
Oh, and by the way, I have to interrupt. I wonder if the song is Look Up.
Look Up.
Yeah. We have a song called Look Up.
There it is.
No, that's another one. That's one of my favorites.
There it is.
I love that song.
I love that song too.
Yeah, that would make sense. But the grind, let's talk about that. Who came up with the date? Like, I mean, how many total dates?
We have a sadistic agent who really hates us. Yeah. And so, I mean, we always like to work as much as possible. But this was a little extreme. Yeah, and honestly, you know, we start booking the tour, and they start sending us all these things, and it's like, oh, we've never been there. We want to go see that place. We want to play. You know, we've never played in Kentucky before, other than Pikeville. We played there one time.
We were opening for Willie Nelson.
Yeah, exactly. So we've never done a show on our own in Kentucky. We've never played one in Indianapolis, which we're doing in a couple days. And, you know, those shows pop up, and it's like, well, we have to do that. So we just keep filling in the holes, and all of a sudden we don't have any time off. But
we're actually codependent. We can't say no. So it's true. So it's 41 shows in 45 days, and it's a lot. But we've done, last tour was like 46 or 7 shows in 52 days. So it's not that different.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we have 1 or 2 more days off last time.
Well, you don't have enough time to think about how tired you are. You can look at it that way. I mean, really. It's
we have plenty of time.
I was trying to be the optimist.
But, you know, it's like, well, once you hit the stage, you know, you get a little burst of energy again. And so, you know,
we feel that, trust me.
You get up and, you know, you're feeling it. You're, especially if we have an audience that's with us right from the beginning, it's real easy to just, you know, slam right into it. You know,
let's talk about Teddy, by the way. Like, talk about killing it on the keys live. You guys have got to come see them, because you bring a party too.
You just say that because you were just standing in front of me. If you were standing in front of him.
No, you bring a show that's great. You can tell you guys love to play, and it translates, and that makes a big difference. We had a pretty deep question come in from Ethan from Belleville, Illinois, who is a musician. And he was talking about the song Piece of the Sky. Now this is a conversation I'm going to sum up briefly, because this went on for 3 hours back and forth together. He dissected it in great detail, you can imagine why. So I'm going to sum it up for everybody. You have to listen to the song. But it discusses about a narrator, I'll call it a narrator, meeting a Buddhist, and then meeting a blackmailer, And then they meet a child in a tree. The question is, I'll say we came to the conclusion potentially that the theory being, is it that don't let the noise of false realities take away from your daily life and finding your truth and the universal truth, and trust in yourself, and is it yourself catching yourself from the tree? Like once you embrace it, once you find what Speck is about, is that yourself catching the child, or is there a child?
Yeah, there is a child. And what Piece of the Sky, which is on our album Somewhere Down the Road, right? That song is about how we teach our children. If you teach your children to believe what you believe, that's the only way they believe that.
Yes.
Because they are born innocent, and if you let them make their own minds up what they want, without forcing stuff on them, then they may turn out to be a different human being than maybe what they did. The song is about religion. The song is about how religion can be a very good thing if it's something you come to yourself, and if it's used for the right purposes. When religion is taught to people as a way to set them apart from other people and claim that their way is the only way, then, I mean, for instance, the opening verse, I met a Buddhist girl out on the road trip. This was an autobiographical thing, and she was very into Buddhism, which is fine. But then one of the things that she chanted for was cocaine. If you're chanting for cocaine based on your religion, that seems kind of weird to me.
And the spaceship got brought in. It was like, how Buddhist is something you're not supposed to do.
It's like, it's like hop on my bandwagon, basically, is what the spaceship thing was about. But it's a song about don't use religion to, don't use it selfishly to get what you want. It's like when I was growing up, I was told in my particular religious upbringing at the church that if you had long hair, you were going to hell. Well, I can't imagine that there's any God that would be that picky.
Your heart doesn't matter. Your intentions don't matter.
Especially when the picture on the wall is a guy with long hair.
Yeah, so I used to tell my grandmother, I said, we got pictures of Jesus all over the house and he's got long hair. Well, back then they didn't have the tools to, I said, oh, come on. That's not true. You know? But that's, it's really about a song about not using religion for your own selfish purposes to get what you want out of something, whether you know what it really means or not. And a child is just like innocent, and they
ask why.
And they ask why. They question things. A kid will ask you, why is the sky blue? And if the answer is because God made it that way, and then you teach them that, then him or her that, then that's what they grow up believing because they're forced into all these things, you know. And so, I don't know, it's like children are really smart, and they know something that comes from a place that we don't, that we tend to forget as we get older.
Yes, they're still honest to a fault at that age, not to a fault. To a good, we're the ones that are at fault when we lose it, but they have no filter.
How many times have you, I mean, JD and I have kids, and I can't tell you how many times when they were little, you go into a store with them and they go, it's like, Daddy, that guy's got big warts on his nose, or whatever. You're like, shh.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
From the mouth of babes. That's right.
Ian, you're almost there. But it is not the same person, is the point. The person catching the child is not the same person. It's not your inner self catching yourself out of the tree. There was a child. It can be, okay.
In this case, it just represented the innocence of childhood and the wonder of childhood. That's what it represented.
So we love that you're listening to it this much, Ian. And if that's what you took away from it, you heard it from the band themselves, you're not wrong.
That's not wrong at all. As a matter of fact, that's very, very smart. And it can mean that also.
Yeah.
It's because, you look at yourself as a child and you see yourself then, you see yourself now. absolutely represent the fact that you've got to go back to that innocence and go back to that questioning of society and the world and life in general. You know, absolutely. Smart person.
Yeah, it was a long conversation. We had many zigs and zags along that road. Probably not ready to be put out on camera just yet. Some of the things we were wondering about. It was a fun conversation. The last question was, when the lyrics come in, the sequence goes like this, watch part one. Correct me where I'm wrong. Lyrics come in, you're writing an album. Lyrics come in from Bud. You guys all sit down. Almost always this week, right? And then you come up sonically with the melody and kind of put things together and build the song together as...
Well, we do it different ways. It's like,
okay.
I have given JD and Ted some music before.
Okay.
That might be a finished song in my head. And when I send them what I've done on a little guitar, they go, you know what? What if instead of going to A minor here, we go to...
Substitute, yeah. But he sings it, you kind of, there's your starting key. You figure out that key, and then from there, it's off and running.
Yeah, so we all do the music. I write the lyrics, but we also come up with, sometimes we started songs actually that started as a ballad. And then when we all get together, we go, you know what? Let's not make this into a ballad.
Okay.
You know, one of us will come up with that. And it's like it sounds cool, but you know, it's kind of draggy this way. Why don't we up the tempo on this and make it into a rock and roll song, even though the lyrics may be more ballad-like lyrics. So we'll do that too. So we don't really have a set way of doing it. Whatever we're inspired to do, we do it. And there have been instances when one of the guys will have music and give it to me, and I'll write lyrics to something that's already finished musically. Sometimes we have the lyrics first and we put music to it. It just depends on how and why we're inspired, you know.
Where they were taking that to is they were paying attention when you were talking about, Teddy, the order you put the songs deliberately.
Well, it's not deliberate. It's hard to explain, but when you're rehearsing the set and you start running down the songs, you can tell, you know that one we just played doesn't fit there. It doesn't feel right. So you put it someplace else. But you look at it. You know, for me, I always put the first song first, whatever the first song is going to be, and whatever the last song is going to be. So I put those two in there, and then you start filling in.
And how often would you say you guys use what you think you're going to use versus pull from the cutting room floor as this develops? As the sound develops around the beginning and the end, has it happened where you've pulled from the cutting room floor and said, well, this might fit in this a little bit better?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we've even used songs that, like Speck has a couple of songs on it that we recorded in like 2010.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Every once in a while there's something that just fits lyrically, and it might fit lyrically and not exactly sonically, but then we'll change whatever the sounds are a little bit to make them fit. And you know, because there's always something that ties everything together. So it's,
and there's so many albums to pick from.
Yes.
You go, oh, I really wish we could have done that song. There's only so many other songs we can do. It's like we'd be playing 5 hours if we.
Yeah, we'd have to have chairs on stage. Yeah, Teddy wouldn't be the only one that can sit down.
Well, those are the questions that you guys wrote in. So please, if you haven't checked out the first part of the interview, check it out. Hopefully we'll continue the conversation, but feel free, like I said, write in on social media. We have www.TheBoxmasters.com. There's Facebook, there's Instagram. Yeah, you're going to be talking to JD.
Yeah.
But write in your questions. These are good questions. They let you know you're listening.
You know, I mean, and also, hats off to you, because you are doing something, a show that's smart. And as a result, you're getting smart questions. And, you know, these are not questions like, you know, did you meet Jimmy Page or something like that? You know, they're actual questions.
What's it like being in a movie with?
Yeah, it's so weird. So, but you're doing something. You're doing something that we need more of. In other words, and obviously, the people who are viewing it are smart people who actually think deeply. So it's a good. You're starting something right.
And these songs aren't just, you know, I mean, some of them are just pop songs with, you know, lyrics that are boys and girls and other sort of things like that. But, you know, there's so many songs that are very topical, very political, very, you know, on social topics, as well as songs that Billy just writes. The lyrics are just something how he feels that day, and sometimes he feels like killing himself.
Today I think I'm going to write a song called "Oh My God, My Lower Back."
Yeah,
maybe that's blow up.
Exactly.
So it's always, there's always something going on. It's not just let's write a song to sell it to somebody. These songs are all have a meaning to us, meaning to Billy, and you know,
And I can attest to that.
our, you know, we love that because our songs mean something to us, and so that's why we can play them live, and that's why we make records. Is because all these things are a part of us that we want to put out there for people. So.
I mean, if you're writing things purposely to sell them, and they're not from your heart, you know, it's not to say that you can't write songs that you want to sell that are from your heart, but we look at it from the other way around. We don't look at it first as let's write something we can sell. It's like let's write something we mean and that means something. And then if it sells, that's great.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, it doesn't.
If it sells, it means we do more.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what we do.
That's what we do with it.
Well, or it's something that people can relate to. Sometimes that happens too. You know, sometimes it's a message that just happens to hit a little bit more.
Now, there's the
Some of
songs
these
that are
can be-
even had the heavier songs. There's the small group of people that get it.
Yeah.
You know, and they listen to
That's what I love.
listen to those lyrics and they go, you know, specific song. They'll come up to us in a meet and greet and say, this song. They just pull it out and go, wow, I remember that one.
We're not only writing about us and our feelings and our views, we're writing about you. We're writing about other people. We're writing about the human condition, and that's
Very
something,
true.
I mean, that's our main goal is we want to reach people, and we want people to go, you know what, that's weird, I didn't know anybody felt that way about that. It's like, and then all of a sudden, you know, you don't feel alone. And whether it's just a boy-girl relationship, a girl-girl relationship, a boy-boy relationship, what
Religion, politics,
anything. And so we write songs about all of it, but they're things that first of all, we feel, otherwise you can't write it. But they're things that we hope to reach other people with who feel the same way. And because when I was a kid, when we were all kids, you know, when we listened to music, it meant something. When you heard Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys do "In My Room," it was like, oh wow, you know.
And it stands the
there's
test of
somebody
time
else who
too.
feels,
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
That's another word I've used.
Feel like that.
Timeless. It's very timeless, and I'll wrap it up with you guys because I'm hoping this is part 2 of fill in the blank, because this is a great conversation. But I was asked this, and I described what I'm experiencing going on the journey. It's a lot of music. I'm getting there, guys. But I described it almost like a book series to give you an idea. All of them are great individually, but as you start piecing them together, there's a story, then there's a story within the story, and then there's chapters. So they're all great. So dive in wherever you want and let the rabbit hole take you where it may, and keep asking questions. Come to the show. Buy the albums, listen to the music, and you have to hear it live because it's great to let it sit, but come on out and party too. Let's do it. Join the party, and hopefully we'll see you. We're in Kentucky, Lexington. It's not too late. Hurry over. This won't be up in time, but it'll be up in time for next time.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time.
We got plenty of tour dates, so go to the
Yes,
website.
Boxmasters.com. Check it out, and be sure to get tickets and come on out. And say hi after. Stick around. Thanks, guys.